Hello, good afternoon. Michael Wynn, Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, division of RB Oppenheim Associates. Thanks for joining in today on the Digital Marketing Podcast and video, where we talk about strategies and tactics to help grow your business. Today's episode, I want to talk about emotions and emojis, the viral gasoline of digital marketing. It's interesting. Those two things, when combined, really are a very powerful set of elements. I mean, we're all very aware as marketers the emotional drivers when it comes to the decision-making process for buyers or consumers. And so I want to today kind of lay that over the context of what really happened looking back now nearly 20 years ago, back in 1999, I think, when the first emojis really kind of surfaced, and talk about how these two things play along with each other. So I think, first of all, to talk about the emotions, I came across while I was kind of thinking about this subject matter today and doing some research. I came across a really great article by Jeffrey James on Inc.com back in 2012 around these sort of 6 core emotions behind buying decisions, and I thought that was really great, especially when we think about kind of the core set of emojis that we see as sort of the core set of emojis that are used on some of the most popular platforms like Facebook or Instagram, although Instagram's got a few more of its own. But he came across these 6 concepts, and I wanted to kind of share those with you as sort of the context of what we're going to talk about. So in this article, he talks about how if you think of these 6 emotions and how it really influences our thought process of when we're about to make a decision. It's very interesting. So number 1 is greed. And the idea of greed is this: if I make a decision now, I will be rewarded, right? So when we're making a decision, and if greed plays a role in it, then the ultimate outcome is, if I make that decision now, I'll be rewarded. There's something in it for me. That's the greatest motivation of greed, is the emotional seat of that decision. Number 2 is fear. Fear is very interesting because if I don't make a decision now, I'm toast, right? If I don't make a decision, like, I am ruined. Right, so there's fear at the sort of seat of that decision process. Number 3, as he describes, altruism. If I make a decision now, I will help others, right? So I mean, that's really a selfless sort of emotional seat, where if I make a decision now, I'm going to help some other people out. Number 4 is envy. If I don't make a decision now, my competition will win. I think that's kind of very closely associated with fear, but I do think that envy, is a sense of, I'm envious that my competitors have done better than me, right? So if I don't make this decision now, my competitors will win. Number 5 is pride. If I make a decision now, I will look smart. So again, especially when that emotional state is, bound by someone who is really worried about how others perceive him or her, if they make a decision now, they will look smart. And number 6, as he points out, is shame. If I don't make a decision now, I will look foolish. I mean, that's, many people, they don't want to look like a fool, right? So they want to make their decision now so that they will not look foolish. So I think what's interesting about these 6 emotional cues, if you will, that are drivers for making a purchase decision, or deciding to make, whether you're buying a product or buying a service or scheduling a trip, or whatever that decision process is, these 6 things, when you think about them, they really are powerful motivators. Excuse me. And when we think about emojis, right? So when you see emojis come into play, what's happening is they are able to communicate sort of this non-verbal context of the information that's being presented, whether it's a video or whether it's a visual, a piece of photography or a graphic piece of artwork, or if it's a text, a status update. Through the use of emojis, you actually have the ability to communicate your sentiment behind this product or service or update in general. And I think what comes behind that, I mean, if you think about a picture's worth 1,000 words, well, maybe an emoji is worth an infinite amount of communication, because it's this fully immersed sort of non-verbal context of how people are thinking and feeling about this content. And so when we talk about the viral gasoline of digital marketing, the idea is, we've talked a lot before on other episodes about, creating a large amount of contextual content at scale. And what happens is, when you're able to map these very specific interests and connect them often to the emotional drivers of people who are thinking about or needing to make a decision related to your product or service, having the ability to understand, okay, we're gonna create a creative set with all of these different emotional sort of anchors as part of the decision process, and then we're gonna deploy the creative, and we're gonna let the market decide, what's being consumed. And how we measure that market response is through likes and shares and emojis that are on there. I mean, how many times have you seen a piece of content and you saw 300 likes and 500, and you see all the emojis lined up, whether it's happy face or surprised or angry face, whatever the emoji was that's associated with that piece of content. Well, I think it's interesting because you do have the ability to leverage that interest when you continue on with your digital marketing advertising. So if you're on the Facebook platform and you're rolling out continual different pieces of content, you do have the ability to carry forward all of that content and sentiment around your product and service. So it really kind of provides this built-in mechanism of people are responding to this, and there's a significant weighted response. It's not just it's not just how many comments and what the comments are, but the emojis that are used. If you've got lots of loves and thumbs up and happy face, all the different things that can be associated with that content help drive its visibility and help garner attention from people who may or may not have seen it before. So again, I think if we look at emotions and emojis and how they're that viral gasoline, because as people continue to comment and share and give it thumbs up or happy face or surprise, all of those things, and how interesting it is that the happy face might be associated with altruism or inspiration, and the angry face associated with fear. So I think all of those connections to the emotions of the buying decisions for consumers and emojis definitely can impact your digital marketing campaign. So keeping that in mind when you are creating your digital marketing campaigns is a great marker of success. Guys, those are my tips for today. Thanks for joining in. My name is Michael Nguyen. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of Digital Ops, a division of RV Oppenheim Associates. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.